this presidency promised us too much and less deliver. With due respect to Comrade Senzo, we felt that he should have removed him completely, put him aside, and appoint a new minister. We found it despicable that the minister tries to cajole the general, one of my dear comrades who's late now. He was buried on the Good Friday weekend. He had a stroke when the ANC took a decision to work with the DA.
It's fair to say the GNU's failing at this point, isn't it?
Spectacular failure by evidence.
Fam, I just want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, Pace Car Rental. Use promo code SMWX and make sure you show Pace some love as they're showing this channel some love. Now, let's get into the episode. Solly Mapaila, General Secretary of the SACP, just emerged from an important Central Committee meeting that's rewriting the rules of South African politics. Firstly, Gwede Mantashe, once a heavyweight, is now gone from the party's leadership, and Mapaila's party is intent on challenging the ANC in the next local elections. Meanwhile, explosive Mkhwanazi allegations continue to rock the country. History is in motion, and I'm extremely glad to welcome back Solly Mapaila. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us once again.
Thank you, Sibiya, and thanks for inviting me as well as to our viewers. It has been a long time, but I've seen that you've grown exponential with this platform.
I think it's since our last interview that got us both in such trouble.
I know. No, the platform has grown so well, and I'm looking at it from a distance. You are doing very excellent
Thank you
job.
so much.
Focus interviews. I appreciate that. Now I think you must deal with the geostrategic questions now. Of course,
absolutely.
You mustn't forget about us here in South Africa, you know. But, thank you.
Absolutely. No, it's wonderful to have you. I was quite struck by your recent meeting. Maybe we can start with Gwede Mantashe. He's been removed from the Central Committee. Talk us through that decision and exactly what's happening there.
Well, it was only revealed this week, but he has been removed from the Central Committee, or recused, that's the right word we want to use, for quite some time.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he has missed many meetings and was requested to, without apologies, many of those meetings. And we sent a delegation to talk to him. I also spoke to him to remind him that he has this obligation to honor party meetings constitutionally. And he just didn't correct himself. So we felt that it would be unfair to other members to be compelled to honor the constitution of the party, and others are given special privileges not to honor it. So the Central Committee then took a decision after that discussion to recuse him from the Central Committee. At the moment, he still remains a member, but it's up to him to keep the membership, but we prefer active members, not just membership. So that's what happened. But of course, on the eve of our of our Central Committee, this was now revealed in public.
Right, I see.
Yeah.
I see. What was his reaction when you sent the delegation? I bet he was disappointed, or?
No, initially, I think there was comradely discussion with him, with the comrades who went to see him. He committed to, initially we thought it was administrative things, No, I didn't receive that communication. We sorted out all those kind of basics, but meetings were still missed. And also, he was also invited to the Politburo. The invitation to the Politburo was largely on the basis of his role in the ANC, because we understood that it may be too difficult for him to also serve in the Politburo directly. But he also missed most of those meetings. I think I remember the last, if I'm quite certain, the last PB meeting that he attended was in December 2022, which was before the ANC National Conference. So that didn't serve its purpose. So in other words, the interrelationship that we need to have with the thinking through of issues inside the ANC, which he could share with us through his input in the Politburo, even in the Central Committee, were missed. So, but generally as a member in the Central Committee where he's elected, he just missed so many meetings and then we had to recuse him. Yeah.
Is that symptomatic of the ANC's commitment to the alliance? You've spoken a lot about a sense in which you feel the ANC has been arrogant. It hasn't taken your interventions, your urgent interventions seriously. This seems to be one of the symptoms of just not even apologizing and blue-ticking meetings for 2 years, basically.
Yeah, more or less. But he's different from the ANC. He is an individual. The ANC is an organization. So we treat that the ANC in a different way. And the ANC, as you know, it's our ally, which we have invested more than 8 decades of our full commitment into it.
Yeah.
That's why this question, when we are deciding to contest elections independent of the ANC, in the absence of reconfiguration of the alliance, because we must remember there's a causal effect to it. Lack of commitment to collective leadership of the alliance.
Sure.
That's the basis.
Sure.
If there was reconfiguration, we would not be talking about this question of independent elections. But reconfiguration, at core of it, it's about accountability of the collective leadership on the prosecution of the South African Revolution, the National Democratic Revolution, which we think at the moment has reached almost a point of paralysis and even has regressed a great deal, has been in a stagnant form for quite some while, and ultimately regressed. By this we mean progress of South African society in terms of social transformation, whether transformation of gender relations, the power relations between men and women, the fight against sexism, the fight against patriarchy, which creates this unequal power relations between men and women. You find more prominent gender-based violence and femicide in society, whilst in policy and sometimes in some government appointments, you can see the promotion of women. But the general state of women is not good. So that aspect as a strategic task and objective of the NDR has regressed. Even on the race relations, you have written extensively on this question. You remember my first attraction to engage you was on your writings, and I found them quite informative. I discussed this with our comrades in the Young Communist League as well at the time. So you are dealing with the deeper questions of racism. So racism itself still exists, particularly in ownership patterns of the land, of the economy, and therefore of social relations in South Africa, even of spatial development, still the same. So the task of the NDR is also to end racism and create a non-racial society. So we're still stagnant there. And you can see even in the development of South Africa, the integration of various national groups is too slow. And in some instances, not happening. But of course, the elite will always find space to insert themselves in this and that. They will share restaurants, they will share residential places, and so forth. That's okay. They can mingle. But the bottom line is that the elite is not society.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about the working class, the majority, who still feel racism on a daily basis. And of course, the bigger question about economic equality, which is in the aspect of class struggle, wherein the economic ownership of the country remains in the minority, few people, largely white, the corporations and some dynasties of families like the Oppenheimers, the Ruperts, who have also decided to use this space to enter the political space to maintain the status quo in their favor. So the task of the NDR are still major, and we have not achieved much as we thought. So we treat the ANC from that perspective, from the assessment of that perspective. And when there's arrogance to address this kind of things, that has created divisions inside the movement, and therefore lack of collectiveness. Because, for instance, initially we had a policy framework saying that we will accept both failures and successes of our revolution. But then you have a revolutionary movement that gets deeply factionalized, deeply divided, very much corrupted at senior levels. And the fight against corruption, it becomes minuscule because it affects the top leaders. And when we raise issues, you'll be told, no, you have to be disciplined. Now, we found ourselves affected by incidental problems of corruption and others. And when they become systemic, we have no power to fight against them without being labeled causing divisions. And that has caused serious problems. And in the absence of collectiveness to tackle those things, we then said, no, we can't just accept anything. We can't accept people who just drag the organization into corruption, and the organization has no capacity to deal with them. And even when instruments are created, those instruments are destroyed or undermined. Say the Integrity Committee, for instance, it can make many recommendations, say many things. The individuals keep their positions. So it's unlike in other institutions. If you are with the Chinese, they've got an important instrument, Discipline and Inspectorate Commission. It can remove a member of the Central Committee is elected at the same Congress where the Central Committee is elected. So it has got similar constitutional powers to oversee ethical and moral behavior of its leaders.
From within the party.
Sure. We're gravitating to creating such an instrument here in our own party. It hasn't reached the same level, but it's a stronger instrument. We'll start, it has done 1 or 2 cases already. So we think we can also use that instrument to build a stronger party that is not just gullible to problems of corruption and dragging the organization along.
So for all these reasons, you've stood firm that the party will be contesting the 2026 election, local government election, or 27. Is that still your position?
Yes. Actually, this is where, the 2026 local government elections decision, it's a compromise. The decision of Congress was to contest election within practically 6 months after the 2022 Congress of the party, if there's no configuration of the alliance.
Sure.
And that's a point that we should not miss. And this question, by the way, we took it to the ANC because our congresses historically over the last 20 years before 2022 have been taking decision about reconfiguration of the alliance. But with a broad space for engagement inside the alliance. Different positions. I mean, if you look at the 2007 decision, as well as the 2012 decision, and the 2017 decision, all of them were strong in relation to party independence, party contesting elections, but still subjecting it to the framework of the alliance. And this framework is not finalized, dragged by one organization in the main, the African National Congress, to refuse, if you like, finalization of this matter, because I can't find any other reason why this will not be finalized. Of course, as you know, 2019, the alliance adopts a joint document on reconfiguration after a series of processes. This is the document I was reading at the press conference.
Right.
Yeah, I happen to have wanted to quote something from it, so I put a copy in my bag. That's why I shared with the press conference. Basically, the alliance said, "You Communist Party, you have been saying this, raising this question on reconfiguration of the alliance. Do a discussion document for us," which we did. COSATU developed its own discussion document. And the ANC responded to these two discussion documents in its own input. SANCO made comments from its Central Committee, National Executive Committee, on this document. And ultimately, we developed a joint document.
Yeah.
It was a series of discussions with discussion documents and all of that. Initially when we had the joint alliance document, for instance, we had Comrade David Masondo leading that team, appointed by the ANC. He was member of the NEC of the ANC.
Okay.
Not in the Central Committee of the SACP at the time. And when this matter was in the ANC NEC, later on the joint document, President Zuma at the time said no, he wants to make more comments. He feels that this document is biased to communist ideas, and maybe it's because of the writer. The writer had previously attacked him in an article. So we felt maybe he was settling some old scores, but nonetheless, we accepted that. He made his own comments, which we also responded to, part of that response to the comprehensive document of the ANC. Ultimately, Masondo was removed, and Comrade Nathi Mthethwa was appointed to lead that process. So as we finalized this document...
So the ANC removed Masondo from that. Okay.
Yeah, because they listened to their former president at the time. Then we have Comrade Nathi Mthethwa, who was NEC member and head of political education in the ANC, who presided over this process. Then we finalized the document on reconfiguration of the alliance. So,
and when was that? What year was that?
That was 2019.
Still
we adopted
2019.
this in November 2019.
Sure, okay.
The implementation was stalled after that meeting because we were supposed to go to provinces to present this document jointly, but this document has gone through all senior structures of this movement. So members, provincial leadership, whether of SANCO, of COSATU or ANC, are aware because they sit in the CEC of COSATU, in the ANC of the ANC, and NEC of SANCO, and so forth. Same as those of the Communist Party, which approved this document. So then Secretary General Comrade Ace Magashule said, no, let's take this document to the ANC NGC, which was to take place in about 7-8 months in 2020. Unfortunately, we had COVID, so NGC doesn't take place, and this document is not discussed in the NGC. But when the ANC prepares for 2022 national conference, they don't create a platform to discuss this document.
Sure. What a process.
Yeah, but we had a meticulous process in this. That's the bottom line. And ultimately adopting it. So in 2022, our Congress, 15-party Congress, then said, we'll take forward this framework, save that we have been agreeing on similar framework. You know, the 2017, which was the 14th Congress decision, I remember I presented this resolution in the plenary of Congress. It started by saying, the SACP will actively contest elections. You know, Sizwe, Congress stood up, started singing. I had to plead with them that no, I have not finished. The sentence is still continuing. But the comrades, they were just happy that we are now saying we will actively contest elections.
Yeah.
But the next sentences were indicating that no, this active contest will require structures that want to contest to send a message to the Central Committee to give reasons why they should do so outside the framework of the alliance. So we have gone even up to that level. The 2022 one was almost taking forward the active contest of elections and so forth, but then said, this time, if there's no reconfiguration by our augmented Central Committee, which is a meeting of the SACP where we invite, it's a Central Committee meeting where we invite district layer leadership, as well as extra members from the Provincial Executive Committee and extra members from our Young Communist League. That meeting takes place at the end of the year in December. So they then said, if by the augmented Central Committee, this process of reconfiguration has not been finalized, we must actively contest elections. So we should have started contesting election effectively January 2023.
Sure.
Yeah, from local government elections and everything else, because the mandate was there.
By elections, all
yes,
that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we went to meet with the ANC to start with. In September that year, 2022, the ANC promised to convene a special NEC in October to look into these matters. The NEC that never took place, and of course later on there were even the national conference. There were also problems inside the ANC, court cases, this and that towards the national conference.
Yeah.
So we felt okay.
The president was thinking, is he going to resign or not?
Yeah. There was a Pala report in Parliament, all of those things. We said, no, they are not stable. And to be safe on our side, we postponed the augmented Central Committee. It's very important, as is to accommodate.
To help them figure themselves out.
We postponed the augmented Central Committee to end of March and until the 1st of April 2023. At that time, when we met at the augmented Central Committee, we have not yet met with the new leadership. They were too busy.
Okay.
So we decided again, tactically, to say, because we have not even met with the ANC, we have been meeting with COSATU throughout. We then said, we will contest 2026 local government elections. The others will be subject to the discussions that we'll have in the alliance based on the call for reconfiguration of the alliance. It's a tactical process. But believe it or not, 2 weeks later, we make this decision, but we don't pronounce it in public. We then say, we will contest together with the ANC the 2024 elections. We'll continue that process. But this one, in order also to keep peace inside the Communist Party, we'll do the 2026 elections. But the main thing is a tactical thing that we have not had time to talk to the ANC, which was not available to talk to us. All the key leaders there, from the president, deputy president, national chairperson, are the people who were in the previous executive and top 5 that we've been talking about all of these things. And even other members of the NEC officials, Secretary General, the first Deputy Secretary General, were there in the previous NEC, as well as the Treasurer General, were there in the previous NEC. So they know these things that they were in the NEC that they were in, and how important they were. But 2 weeks after our augmented Central Committee,
in April now.
In I think it was 29 March to the 1st of April.
23.
Yes. Just 2023. After we took this decision to say, we will contest local government elections and go with the alliance in the 2024, we didn't pronounce this section of in our statement that 2026 local government election, because we're going to give confusion or create confusion in society that we take two divergent decisions. So we kept it, but pronounced the support for the 2024 elections. 2 weeks later, the ANC have its own NEC. They call us and say, can you come and present the reconfiguration of the alliance document? And I was shocked because I said to the SG, no, SG, just present the common document, the alliance document, to the NEC meeting. Then I get called again by Comrade Phoebe from the ANC, Phoebe Potgieter. She says they see that Comrade Masondo was there. Can we allow him to present the SACP view on the reconfiguration of the alliance? I said, no, Comrade Phoebe, the document is one. It's an alliance document. Just present the alliance document. Little did I know, the ANC had prepared a new document. They call it towards the they call it the renewal of the movement.
Okay.
We have not seen it. So they wanted us to come and present an alliance document against an ANC document. And this renewal document criticizes the alliance document as if it's an SACP document. So the writers were completely misled.
Sure.
No clue with the affairs of the ANC.
Yeah. And the whole 3-4 year process is just forgotten, and there's a new process on top of that one.
It's just been undermined. So it is that NEC that at the end of that NEC, the national chair of the ANC, Comrade Gwede Mantashe, then comes out and say the call for reconfiguration of the alliance by the SACP, it's a call for liquidation of the ANC.
Okay. And at this time, he's also a member of the Central Committee?
Yeah, still a member of Central Committee. Okay. But neither, the point is, when we started writing this document, he was Secretary General of the ANC. When we adopted this alliance document, he was the chairman of the ANC.
Now it's the liquidation of the
ANC. Now all of a sudden he says, this is about liquidation of the ANC. This is disingenuous.
So was that kind of the final straw towards affirming that this election decision was the right one?
Not much there as usual, because after that we then had a meeting with the ANC, which also took place. They said this in April. We had our meeting in July. And in July, which was very, very important meeting, but problematic, because in their document that is not an alliance document, the ANC document on reconfiguration, on the renewal of the movement, which they characterize as the reconfiguration of the alliance, because they are saying that one, it's meant the joint one that they adopted. It's now a liquidation platform. So in the new one, they propose allocation of quotas.
Okay. Quotas for what? Leadership positions?
For deployment.
Okay. So like in cabinet and provincial legislatures and that kind of thing.
I found that insulting. Because
what was the quota?
We'll discuss the quota, but the point is that the central pillar is that the configuration of the alliance will be on the basis of quotas. We'll give you this, we'll give it. So it's transactional.
Sure.
We rejected that.
Almost like a coalition situation.
Yeah, we rejected that. Even the coalition is different.
Sure.
You can look into this and that, but it comes to that in a sense that if you work in that form, we'll give you this. We can have a proportional allocation of seats or whatever in a coalition form. But the point is, the initial document on the configuration.
It was about policy and deep reform.
It was about transformation of society, programmatic. It was about collective leadership, joint efforts, even accountability, collective accountability, collective recall of deployees who are not performing well. All of that is taken away to be promised positions.
Sure.
I found that insulting, actually, degrading. We rejected that. They don't say this. But we also made this document like in the meeting. And this is supposed to be a strategic document driving the transformation of the power relations in the movement. Well, we rejected that. But at that time, this is in July, Now September, we are now getting ready for alliance processes for elections for 2024.
Yeah.
In which we had also characterized what we called counter-revolutionary offensive, a subdued counter-revolutionary offensive. We could feel at the time that quite a number of things were going wrong, and these were coordinated. And this will be exposed with the huge funding that Oppenheimer's gave to the various parties that were part of the so-called Moonshot Pact. Unprecedented. Records of the IEC have since proven that. So that low-intensity counter-revolutionary offensive we felt also allowed us to retreat a bit and said, no, let's still focus on an internal debate inside the movement to understand what we're dealing with. But the comrades were not prepared. So they were just negligent. So, of course, we now know we go to 2024 elections, we perform the way we did. We did not win. Then the ANC again takes unilateral decision. The core of reconfiguration is collective decision making on strategic issues.
Yeah.
Now, it's a strategic issue as setting up a new government post-elections. They make unilateral decisions.
Yeah.
So,
you mentioned in our previous interview you hadn't even seen that coalition document.
That also had a huge impact on our relations. There's no doubt about it.
But especially the DA decision.
DA, Freedom Front,
sure.
And so forth.
Patriotic Alliance.
But the justification that they made for that is what really worried us, even in public, and creating an impression that the people wanted it. Wanted this, and therefore rejecting self-introspection and the problems that we have been raising regarding corruption, defocus, neoliberalism. And one of the things that has deepened the tension within us is this question of an ANC that is driving a neoliberal agenda. A neoliberal agenda, in simpler terms, meaning that a government that works for capital, for the corporations, not for the people. A government that believes corporations will solve the problems of society.
And sometimes not even domestic corporations.
No, of course. Yeah, in many instances, not. The local corporations are largely tied up with international ones who are controlling them in many respects. You take, for instance, the government now inviting these corporations to participate in the network industries. This was our fight with Minister Tito Mboweni at the time.
This is like transport and rail. And
transport, rail networks or transport networks as a whole, telecommunication, water, sanitation, energy, all of those kind of things. These are, when we talk about government, we're talking about this network industry, network sector. The government says job creation will be done through these network industries. In fact, that used to be the government's position, a neoliberal position, not the ANC's position. Now, the last ANC conference adopted this framework.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear.
Yes, when they released the conference resolution, the conference resolution calls for that job creation and economic growth will be through bringing competition in the network industries. In other words, bringing private sector role players into this sector of the industry.
Yeah.
This is the language of the IMF and the World Bank, the new language of what is privatization. I heard the president a couple of weeks ago addressing the Water Summit, inviting the private sector into the water industry. So we're reaching, this is not a laughing matter.
No, it's clear. We've known this for a long time now.
I'm laughing like this just out of sheer disgust of this recklessness, committed recklessness.
So it's a policy, it's a clear policy divergence from your policy wishes, but also political divergence by grouping with these formations like the DA, Freedom Front Plus, Patriotic Alliance that fly in the face of both traditional alliance policy, traditional ANC policy, but SACP policy.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I ask you on that? You were probably, if I'm not mistaken, you were probably the first person within the ANC alliance, tripartite alliance, rather, on this show to say that the GNU, which I refuse to actually call it GNU, was a serious mistake and a gross error. I think we've had about a year since then. Do you think you've been vindicated? 8 in 10 South Africans, according to a recent Ipsos poll, say the country's heading in the wrong direction. Back then, the GNU was the flavor of the month and the markets were going to save us and all of that. Unemployment is as high as it's ever been. Poverty is growing. You know, I was shocked by a statistic I saw recently which said that nearly 70% of South African children are living in poverty. 70%. You know, were you right?
Well, this way, let me say, your platform was right. Your platform has been vindicated because during that time, we were overwhelmed with suppression until I came to this platform. We had done our own podcast, by the way, which they rejected. What then happened? 4 leading officials of the ANC came out, even singling me out, attacking me.
Yeah, the attacks were very, very fierce.
In this case, they were later on joined by the 5th one who became the president, the president who joined them to be the 5th one. And the media was driving that. So in the public domain, this thing was completely suppressed.
Yeah.
And this platform was able to elevate it the way we wanted. I had enough time to talk about this thing here. And we exposed the ideology of this thing, the political decision of this thing, that it was a political decision. And in fact, as it will come out, of course, people have rejected this, but just out of respect, one of my dear comrades who's late now, he was buried on the Good Friday weekend. He had a stroke, was in the intelligence. He had a stroke when the ANC took a decision to work with the DA.
Look at that.
Good friend of mine and a comrade. And he said, Mchana, I can't take it. Now, prior that, in 2024 March, I remember I had a meeting of the party officials on the 25th of March. These meetings, we have what you call political notes. In my political notes, I have shown that the ANC was meeting with the DA.
Before the elections and all of that. Yeah.
When right in the middle of the elections, there are even private discussions.
Wow.
That is why also the discussions of the alliance were undermined post the elections. The alliance was supposed to participate in the development of this joint statement. They invited us. Well, we asked to be involved. They said, yes, that's okay, be involved. We sent them delegates. They never invited them to a single meeting.
At what level were these meetings? Was it at the highest levels? I mean, did the leadership of the party know, okay, we're going to now meet with the DA even before the election result?
Well, I came to know that there was this secret meetings of the ANC leadership. They had a team that was meeting. And I exposed this to the leadership of the Communist Party. Worried about it.
Wow.
And the practical effect of it came out after the elections.
So you already knew when the
Yes.
result came that no, the ANC and DA have been having these secret meetings
Yes,
before.
they've been having some of these discussions.
Something.
But, the bottom line is that Ellen Zille was very honest about this when she described the GNU arrangement, that actually practically it's them and the ANC. Others are invited to make this thing look good so that the ANC can manage people like us in the Communist Party and its allies and so forth.
Yeah.
So that was the essence. But the bottom line is that our team was not invited in the development of the statement of intent. It was sent to us a night before it was released. We were given a deadline of 9 o'clock. After we've asked for it for a couple of weeks. And 7 o'clock in the morning, we saw it leaked in the newspapers without our comments. That is, the statement has been signed with the ANC's partners, in this case, the DA. The negotiating team, we also asked to have people there. We sent one of our Comrade Thulas Ngesi, our National Deputy Chair, to join the negotiating team. Never invited to a single meeting. Neither will be the delegate of COSATU Sango. That was the problem, because some of the people in the negotiating team felt that bringing these alliance partners is to reverse back the work that they've done already. Yeah, so they didn't want us. So you can see this unilateralism. And I think at the core of these tensions is this unilateralism, unfettered unilateralism that is imposed with take it or leave it mentality, the level of arrogance. So we have rejected that. So I think we're in a space where effectively our contest of local government elections, or elections if we put it proper by our Congress decision, is to contest the direction of our democracy, to contest the lack of working class representation. Because working class is no longer represented if a state implements neoliberalism. Basically, that wipes off the working class. So they can't say they are represented. You can have an organization that speaks their conditions, but do nothing about those conditions, or even worsen those conditions by policy.
I mean, they're getting worse, we have to admit.
And that's a scientific evidence that you are referring to. So the bottom line is that what has been vindicated is not much what I said, is this platform. Because against overwhelming platforms captured by the bourgeoisie, this platform remained independent.
Absolutely.
And gave us a space to share these views. And these views resonated back with society. They could not ignore them.
Yeah, absolutely. How much pressure was put on you after you came out publicly to say the GNU was a gross error?
Well, too much of it. It continues, but it's neither here nor there, Sizo. I mean, what is important is to tell your truth and your views, and these were also the views of the organization. To the extent that we manage this thing inside the organization in our own way, and the people who are not inside the organization undermine them.
Yeah.
For instance, at one point, the DSG of the ANC said, what Soli is saying is not in the statement of the SACP. So as if everything what we write should be in the statement. When in 2023, in our augmented central committee, in the absence of meeting with the ANC, we took a decision to contest local government elections. We didn't put it in the statement. We actually put that will support the ANC in the 2024 elections, but left this one.
To protect them in many ways.
Yeah, to protect them in many ways. So they want us to write every other thing. I mean, we spent 3 days in a meeting having discussions. We receive organizational report, massive document, political report, and everything else. We can't have everything in the statement. So that was part of this offensive, part of the attacks. But we go through those. As long as you represent your organization, you are not manufacturing your own things, that's okay. So it doesn't matter what they say. Even now, I mean, there's been huge attack. There's even a new document, by the way, about us and whether we should contest elections in the platform of the National Democratic Revolution or in the platform of socialism. In fact, as I was coming here, I was having a long discussion with our comrades from MK Liberation War Veterans about this, because the ANC is now presenting this document in different places. Comrade Klaas, Comrade Nduli, as well as Comrade Geraldine Fraser-Moleketi, even President Mbeki.
I see he made some statements.
Of this thing. Yeah. So we will respond to that as well. But we have said it in our statement. There's no separation between National Democratic Revolution and socialism. So the analysis, effectively, it's completely flawed. Yeah.
And, I mean, what's your assessment of the GNU itself? I mean, I think it's fair to say the GNU's failing at this point, isn't it?
Spectacular failure by evidence. Sizwe. We have seen the IPSOP report. The survey also indicate that almost 80% of the people who are despondent with this GNU. Now even inside the ANC, that's why they're having this discussion about expanding the GNU.
Sure.
Yeah, they are always late.
Yeah.
But that's okay that they've found that they can discuss something important to respond to the challenges facing society.
And their only response is to expand a thing that's already not working. That's going to make it worse, isn't it?
That's the thing. No, the thing was that when they charged me for, this was said by one comrade Gwede in a meeting, I found that charge completely astonishing. Was saying we were forcing them to work with other organizations like the EFF. I'm like, how's that possible? We're just saying, instead of going into a right-wing corner with the Freedom Front, with the DA, work with other alternative organizations that share some of your perspectives. They didn't care about that. Now they're having internal discussion in the NEC. We had led about that to the possibility that they can bring in organization that can show them that this comfort zone that they are in, it's an elitist comfort zone, is not responding to the challenges of society. Maybe they can wake up, because we've been saying it, but they don't listen to us. Those in the GNU, because they would have a space to contest them. They know they contest them on a daily basis. Maybe they can listen to them. But certainly, the situation is worse in this country. Yeah.
What about this decision to contest and dual membership? Talk us through that situation. Of course, we've already seen, you taking more deliberate steps with Gwede Mantashe. But of course, we've got people like David Masondo, we've got people like Dr. Nzimande, etc. I suppose you have contested some municipalities before as well, but what do you think is going to happen there?
Yes, the alliance is established on the basis of the joint program. From that time, the colonial regime, British imperialism, and the fight for transformation of our country on the basis of ending race, class, and gender inequalities. So that program became a common program of the forces of the alliance. Later on, of course, the fight against apartheid, because the colonial regime took the posture of apartheid, it also became a continued common program. Because of the nature of the common program, our cadres, whether in the trade union, in the Communist Party, in the ANC, assumed a common mission. And that's how the birth of the dual membership originates. It originates out of the common program. So for as long as the common program exists, the dual membership will exist. But because cadres will use different platforms to fight for the common program. So the idea was that, why do you divide us if, for instance, the program is the same?
Sure.
And that's why at some point, the ANC, not by appointment, but by its multi-class nature, assumed the strategic leadership of the alliance. It's not appointed to be the leader of the alliance. which is now being wrongly said even in this new document that is created, that the ANC is the leader of the NDR. They didn't even create the NDR. The NDR is an assessment of the material condition here. In fact, was developed by the communist movement, which was analyzing how the communist movement can relate with national bourgeoisie in the colonized countries, in colonies, in the early 20s. That's how this thing was developed. But to the extent that it became applicable in our case, we adapted it in our conditions. We called it colonialism of a special type, because our colonialism was different from other colonies, in which here the colonizer and the colonized were sharing the same borders. Whereas in other countries, the colonizer will send an administrator and a section of the army to impose their role. And those people will be there for 5 years, 10 years. They were always subject to recall back to their countries. But in this case, the colonizer and the colonized, the colonizers were now staying here permanently. By the 1900s, they were already having 300 years in the country and not willing to go back. So we have to deal with that particular reality. So the dual membership will remain to the extent that we have said in our statement, to the extent that the ANC manages this politically. They've been less political in management of this thing. In fact, they were almost childish, some of their leaders, on their approach to the question of dual membership. Sure. Almost 99.9% of our members are ANC members.
But what happens on the campaign trail when you actually are now contesting each other? Will it be fluid and members are able to kind of wear half and half T-shirts? Or
yeah. Well, that's the point that we should be having a discussion with the ANC on, a mature debate. They've rejected that by take it or leave it syndrome, arrogance. Now, in the absence of mature discussion about the political program, they factionalized this debate. We are the leader of the NDR.
Yeah.
You don't impose the leadership of the NDR on yourself. You lead by having all the forces of the NDR together with you. So in this regard, we have also found not just only the crisis of the dual membership in the current, when we contest separately, but also of the dual leadership.
Absolutely.
You have mentioned, for instance, Koromasonde is in both ANC and SACP leadership
and the
structures.
national executive as well.
And a few others. So the political leadership must handle that. But what we will not accept is that we can exercise our own right as an organization on the basis that we have a common program with another organization that has betrayed that program.
Yeah.
Because the central issue is the betrayal of this program.
Do you think the ANC might retaliate and say, well, Dr. Nzimande, you campaigned against us in the local election, therefore we're actually going to remove you from your deployment in cabinet or something?
That's a threat that they've made. It's a terrible threat. It's a puerile threat. It's childish. It shows political immaturity of the highest order. It shouldn't happen. But it's an option that we have seen some of them expressing it because they think they're the only organization. They are quite wrong in that regard, those who are pushing that idea.
Yeah.
Our own thing is that we need to be sitting down as the leadership to say, under these conditions where we share common membership, what do we do? Because like I said, 99.9% of our members are members of the ANC. There are very, very few. They are there. The very, very few are not in the ANC, but are in the Communist Party. So if the ANC takes the decision, we would have no choice to have just members of the Communist Party who are not members of the ANC. So some may decide to choose either one of the two. And if there are communists who choose to be in the ANC, if they are trained communists, they'll continue the mission of building a revolutionary ANC, which is one task that we think we did well over the years as a Communist Party.
Can I turn attention to some of the current developments in the country? Because
no problem.
Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's bombshell press conference has really, in my view, set South African politics on a completely different trajectory. And I'd like to first just get your perspective on his press conference and the allegations that he made about criminal syndicates exerting influence over the criminal justice system, but also the highest reaches of government.
Well, we welcomed General Mkhwanazi, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's statement. Firstly, we felt it was a brave move, and we commended him for it. And we think he's a great patriot. He has made a significant contribution to this country with what he said. We were the first, by the way, Sizwe. That's another thing, you know. Some years ago, we led a campaign in the Western Cape. There were killings of senior police officers in the Western Cape. And we felt that those senior police officers were investigating cartels, mafias, syndicates in the Western Cape. And they were killed. And we decided to give them support to their families and to the comrades there in the police. And we made a call. We visited several stations in the Western Cape, particularly around Cape Town, with public pickets, even at the provincial headquarters in the Western Cape, making the singular call for a commission of inquiry to investigate the capture of the police by criminal syndicates. And this was just ignored. So what General Mkhwanazi did vindicated that program we had in our Western Cape province, and lifted it up, particularly as a police officer who was also coming in with evidence. Because his evidence, quite important, in many instances, irrefutable evidence. The only thing to defeat that evidence is technicalities. From what we have come across, is just technicalities about whether you should have released this evidence, how did you get it, that kind of a thing. But the commission will deal with that. We hope that the commission will not miss to focus on the veracity of the truth that he has raised. Because you cannot have a state so disorganized. We can't do anything. We have syndicates who captures various towns in our country. Part of Johannesburg, for instance, taken over by criminal syndicates. They'll come and evict people in their own flats and take over the flat. It has been happening, unfortunately, even some of the government buildings. So they sell drugs, they do all these kind of things, and you find that the corruption levels, when some of the raids are taking place, some of the criminal police working for these mafias and syndicates, they will come and raid your flat because it's the flat of their adversary, so that they take you out and bring their people. We have now reached that kind of level. So this was extremely timely, what Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi indicated. Most important, timely. It was long overdue, but timely as it was raised. So we support him fully, and we know that he should be under very, very serious pressure. But equally, we support the action by General Masemula, Fani Masemula, who also tried to take back some of the dockets in the political killing file. Proper back for investigation. We hope nothing happens with those files.
But I mean, what do you make of what? Because I got a bit confused as to why the police minister, Minister Cachalia, then said they had a problem with this and it should go to the commission. Then they met and they said, no, it's fine, you can have them after all. The president was reported as fuming that these documents were being sent back. What's going on there? And isn't that...
It's just pure interference. It's unacceptable that.
You think there's really...
That's pure interference.
Yeah, absolutely. But why would the president want to interfere?
On what basis does the minister get involved in dockets?
That's the whole problem that General Mkhwanazi raised.
Listen, Sizwe, I have a central committee of members who have been victims, survivors of assassinations. I survived assassinations too.
In democratic...
Yes. Even 2 years ago, I survived assassinations this way.
Wow.
Yes. So, why does the ministers want to hide this thing? So, this has to be investigated fully. And we will monitor this.
Absolutely.
And we'll make sure that none of them ever betrays what's in those files. So that's why we feel that General Masemula should not retreat back on the basis of operational work of the police. But of course, you know, they are the ones that makes the appointments, like the president.
Yeah.
They may ultimately remove him, just so that he's out there, that they can focus on their own thing. Gen Mkhwanazi himself, we hope his contract can be renewed. Of course, but the political powers, the powers that be, on the basis of whatever interest that they have, which is shocking that they can have interest into this thing when actually they should be investigating. I mean, we've found the assassination levels completely unacceptable in this country, Sizwe. You know, we met with Contralesa, the leadership of traditional leaders in this country, and they say to us, look, traditional leaders have been assassinated in this country at a high rate. They actually gave us a figure of almost over 60 people assassinated, traditional leaders in this country.
Yeah.
And they say about 45 or 48 are from KwaZulu-Natal.
Sure.
So it's a massive thing, this thing. And for this leadership to undermine it in this form, it's unacceptable. So they can hide their interest in this. I mean, really, why would you not be interested? If a political assassination are involving members of your party, expose them and expel them from the party.
Absolutely.
That's what we need to know. And that's what should happen. So we found it despicable that the minister tries to cajole the general not to continue the investigation.
Yeah.
The Madlanga Commission can have copies of this thing.
Absolutely.
And use that as reference record for whatever they want to do, but the investigation must continue. That's where we stand actually on this one.
Yeah, it's very concerning. I mean, what about President Ramaphosa's actions in this? Because he's put Minister Senzo Mchunu on special leave. He's appointed the commission, but the commission has really taken a huge amount of time to get started, partly because of government's own ineptitude, I guess. Do you think he's handled this the right way? Well,
look, with the commission, the first thing is that he had less options on setting up the commission, given the allegations that were made, but these were serious allegations. The establishment of the commission, we supported it, but we said it should be shorter, but extensive.
Sure.
I don't know if we can achieve that both, but nonetheless, the best one was that the commission was set up.
Sure.
What we were unhappy about, which we expressed to him, and this is the view that he knows, and it's not a secret view, and with due respect to Comrade Senzo, we felt that he should have removed him completely, put him aside, and appoint a new minister. And if he still wants him, after he's been cleared by the commission, he can bring him back.
He can always come back, yeah.
Yeah.
He would stay as an MP, presumably, but just not be a minister. Or remove him as MP as well.
Ideally, these are serious allegations.
No, they are. I mean, I'm just trying to...
No.
Yeah, you know the ANC would not...
He should have been removed.
Yeah, completely.
These are serious allegations.
They're very serious.
Of course, this thing that you need to be charged before you step aside and so forth, it's not good enough.
Sure. So your position was remove
him.
Current Minister Mchunu completely. If he's vindicated, he can always come back.
Because we said that the commission must be shorter and so forth.
Yeah.
And if he's vindicated, he comes back.
Yeah.
That also raises the credibility of the movement and the commitment to deal with the problem.
But especially at a time and within a presidency that has promised South Africans a cleanup.
Oh, yeah. This presidency promised us too much and less delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah, too much. I mean, everybody said so. We went in and said, this is perhaps the new trajectory South Africa can take.
Yeah.
But man, I can tell you, the man is committed with his ideology of capitalism, basically to hand over the economy of this country to international capital and their local proxies. They're finishing this country. By the time we wake up, there will be nothing for the people of this country.
Sure.
So the promise, the hyperbole of a promise disappeared. Well, with me, I mean, as a leader of a party that is in alliance with the ANC, there are huge constraints.
Sure.
But certainly unhappy with the current quality of leadership. Yeah, completely unhappy.
And of course, we've also got Parliament investigating this matter. And soon after our conversation, one would hope the Commission and Parliament are going to actually start the investigations and the public is going to get to hear testimony. Do you have any inkling as to what we might hear? Because I think everyone is anxious to know, what this thing is that is being suppressed with such intensity actually is. Should we be worried?
You know that Parliament, if it was Parliament of the people, it should make public what it is investigating. Okay. So there should be nothing secret about this.
Absolutely.
But in terms of the docket, to the extent that there could be, people could be jeopardized, people's life can be at risk. That's a sensitive matter that can be handled differently. But we shouldn't be hiding anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are basic areas that we should be able to really be open about, confront this matter, but also not create an undue parallel process that will conflict itself and divert attention into what really needs to be done. The parliamentary thing, the good thing about it is that you do have different parties that are participating in this thing. Whether they have vested interest or no vested interest is neither here nor there. The bottom line is that they are all there as members of various parties because it's a portfolio committee, it's a multi-party parliamentary structure.
Yeah.
Then they can look into this thing and make their views known. They can expose anything that can be hidden. So that is a little bit more open process.
Sure.
Of course, we welcome the Madlanga Commission. We also welcome, by the way, the intervention for the suspensions of those who try to delay this thing in government.
Very strange, I must say.
One of them is this DG of Justice.
Yeah, Doc.
Yeah.
Is it Doc Mashabela?
Yeah. So, because that's his responsibility.
Absolutely.
But we've been having difficulties with that department.
Really?
Yes, that department, as you know, together with corrections, are the one that allowed Gen Mkhwanazi to leave this country freely. And we have made a request for the inquest of Comrade Krisani. And there's been some delays. And in fact, that office has been trying to sabotage this. It's just pathetic behavior of this kind of fellows. So, but...
Do you think there was sabotage here with the commission, maybe to try and delay things?
Yeah, of course. This thing, the president, he should feel, he felt embarrassed, I think. That's why he instructed the minister to take action. Because he made a commitment and even set up the date by which the commission will start.
Yeah. And
the commission can't start.
It's 2 months since since Mkhwanazi made his allegations now.
Yeah,
and
that was sometime
still
in
nothing.
July.
Yeah, July. We're hitting September now.
Yeah.
Would you be prepared to share what you know with the commission or with the parliamentary inquiry if you're called?
Well, I'm not a member of parliament.
Yeah, but I'm sure you have some.
No,
yeah.
I'm not a member of parliament, but I don't have.
With the commission.
Well, the commission, not necessarily that we know anything spectacular. As you know, we were the champions that led for the Commission of Inquiry into allegations of state capture and corruption, which was commonly called the Zondo Commission. Hey, people forget that because we're fighting with a system.
I remember, and at the time,
source of the problem.
You were very unpopular.
Yes, and when we raised this thing, they said, bring evidence. We said to the president, set up a commission, we'll find the evidence. Because we have no judicial capacity to go and abstract evidence. So the commission has got that mandate. So it will get all the evidence. At personal level, I don't have any special information, but what I do know, what we have called for in the past, and even calling for this commission into capabilities of the SAPS and the crime intelligence, as well as all other justice cluster entities to fight crime and corruption. We have actually indicated that this needs a special investigation, especially as it relates with the police, which is now the issues that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi has raised. So we're happy that the commission has been set up, and we feel that as soon as possible, we should be able to know the truth and action must be taken. And we will be putting our hawk's eyes on these processes in the commission so that these worrying tendencies like about the dockets, back and forth, must never happen. Whether it irritates the president or the minister, it shouldn't come to that. There must be thorough investigation and proper investigation, and people must be prosecuted, those who are guilty.
Sali Mapaila, thank you so much for joining us once more on SMWX. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sizwe.
Thank you. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Thank you for taking us to our latest milestone of 300,000 subscribers. Let's keep pushing to our next of 400,000. Keep it locked on SMWX. If you're on the move, check us out on all podcast platforms. If you're listening on a podcast, watch the YouTube videos and make sure you keep it locked right here. Ayeye. See you on the next one.
Ayeye.
Ayeye indeed.